Hello everyone, I'm Rick Janzen. Welcome to my fly tying channel. Every now and then you come across a chironomid hatch that's brown and you need the right color to match the hatch. It's got to be the right color of brown though. It can't be too muddy or opaque or dull. I've come up with the one that fits the bill and I've affectionately called it the Swamp Monster. Let's take a look at the materials you're going to need to tie it. Okay, into the vise is a number 14 Togen's 2x long curved nymph hook. To that I've added a 3/32 black nickel bead, and then we're going to come in with our, what size is this? I'll just double check. The 70 denier brown tying thread here, just plain old brown. We're going to use this to lay a underlayer and tie in our gills here. So we'll get that tag end cut off and attach a set of gills. Just looking for the right piece of yarn there. Let me get the, still got some thread on my fingers there. Get that set of gills tied in, bound in properly, and put one wrap in front, maybe two in front there to cock the gills up. I think I did that first one too far back. There we go. Fix that. That's better. Get that all secured in place, and cut off the tag end of the yarn there. All pretty straggly looking, but that'll get tidied up when we give it a haircut in a bit. I'm going to whip finish that off and reattach the tying thread. Now this pattern has a double rib, one of gold wire, one of black. So I'm going to, it's UTC, small, extra small black, and the small in the gold. I wanted them a slightly different size from each other. And so I'm just looking for the end of that black wire there. Cut off a chunk of that with my specialized dedicated wire scissors. And then I'll line up the two wires, the ends of them, trying to get them about the same. They don't have to be perfect because you can fix that once they're tied in. If one's a little sticking a little further than the other, you can just give it a couple of light wraps and then adjust once they're tied in. So I'm getting them just kind of lined up there. Oh, first of all, got to reattach my thread, don't I? Or put the bead forward, getting ahead of myself there with the wire. There we go. Attach our thread. Not quite on my game here. I'll get that sorted. I'll get myself sorted out here. Now I've got my wires in my hand. Yep, still have them. Get them both tied in on the near side of the hook. Give them two wraps. Pull them back so that they're in behind the bead, and then start to taper that in. And we've got both wires there. I've got one wire attached. The other wire didn't want to attach. So I'll get that attached as well. Back that up just a little bit. The other wire skipped the loop, didn't get trapped. There we go. I want it on the near side, same side as this one. There we go. And come back here a little bit. There, we got both wires in there now. Now our underbody material is orange yarn. You could go with burnt orange. It's rayon, 4-strand orange yarn. I've had that for a very long time. There's very few patterns I needed it for until recently, when I began to learn about layering things for my chironomid patterns a little more in a little more detailed manner. Now I'll hold both wires and the yarn in one hand, in my left hand, as I work this thread back. And I can go fairly open wraps, doesn't have to be really tight here. And I'm just going to go to about the point of the hook and then back forward again. Now we'll leave the wires there for now. We'll bring them forward as ribs later on. Just try to get that yarn separated from the wires and leave the two wires hanging off the back. And then we'll cover the body in this orange yarn. This is the under layer that provides the base color on which we're going to put the wood duck thread later. And that's when the magic happens. So we'll get that wound forward to just about the collar area there and tie it off. And give that a little cut. Pull out the yarn there. And now we'll just build up that bit of a collar there. Now I've got a little tag in there that I just want to get rid of with the fine scissors there. And then we'll just give that a bit of a color of brown because we want the brown to show through as well. Now it's time to whip finish the brown and take it off. Just a couple of turns of that because it will be covered up with the wood duck later on. As I mentioned, I'm just tidying up some of these stray ends here. But you can tidy those up later too. Now I come in with the wood duck colored thread just behind the yarn, not on top of it, just behind it, uncovering the wires. I give about 3 or 4 wraps going down toward the bend of the hook. Then cut off my tag end. We're going to carry that down a little further to give it the taper that we're looking for. So we want the taper on the tail of the fly here. I'm getting down into the bend and then I lift the wire and go in behind it with about 2 wraps. This helps complete the taper. Maybe another one. I'm just looking for the right height of the thread there, and now back forward again. And now this one I'll start to twist the bobbin to flatten the thread, and I just want to cover the yarn with a single layer of thread. I don't want to overlap my thread too much. And we're just working our way forward. Even some little gaps aren't going to hurt it. I'm going to give it a nice even coat of the wood duck. You can see already that gradation of color, of that gold to a light brown to a darker brown, as we'll get up to the very dark brown right at the top of the fly behind the bead here. And then we'll get in here. Now it's time to bring our wires forward, and we bring them forward as a pair and make our 5 to 7 wraps. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and there's 6. So we'll wrap that in there, get that secured, and because I don't want to build up too much of a shoulder in this area and have to tie so much thread to secure 2 wires in there, I'm going to cut them off with my scissors, my dedicated scissors, and then what I do is I take my thumbnail and I just bend those 2 tag ends forward to continue the wrap, right? And then I cover that with tying thread, and then we'll whip finish in there with some carefully laid whip finish wraps, just a minimal amount too, again 2 because we've got resin coming in that's going to secure everything, so we don't have to overdo it with the wraps. Just secure it long enough for to hold until the resin is in there. Now I like to tidy these up before I get the resin in because I don't like all those loose fibers hanging around, potentially catching in the resin and getting glued in. So I'm just being a little fussy here right now. Just giving that a haircut and pulling out, even blowing on it, getting all that little loose fibers off. Okay? Now, when the resin comes in, this is where the magic happens. As the undercolors bleed through the top layer, and we try to get that on there, you can see the different browns now showing up there. That orange underneath creates a brown combined with the wood duck. that's really quite translucent and iridescent. And we'll give that a hit with the UV light. Turning it over here to try to get all the sides of it cured. And this is just about finished, very close to finished here, because what we do is we give it another coat of resin. Because the thread soaks up some of that resin, I like to smooth out the coat here with a second bead drop, and just then turn the vise and let that settle all over in an even way. Let it run all over the fly, using my bodkin as necessary to remove any globs that don't want to move, and then hit it with the UV light again. And now we have a super nice translucent golden brown chironomid pupa that has a nice gradation of hue from the tail to the head, and it's going to be a super winner. So there you go, the swamp monster. I'm looking forward to fishing this when the brown chironomids come off. This is a beauty, and I hope to pull some real monsters out of the lakes with this little puppy. And just again with the UV light on there, I like to shine it on the gills, and I can find any errant strands there that I like to tidy up, be a little fussy about. Well, if you found this a neat pattern, please consider subscribing to the channel to tell me what more like this. I'm happy to produce these precise chironomids and enjoy showing them to you and how I put them together. Tight lines, everybody. Good luck. Thank you for watching.